This is the 8th video tutorial for assignment 01, site model for architecture 5354. In this video tutorial, we're going to cover how to create a street, cut the topo, and develop a street. And in the next video, we'll develop a curb for that street surface. But anyway, one thing I want to explain is that you'll see these two property lines I've put in right here and right here. Those are the ones that I've been told by your studio instructors that those are now the new topos, the new property line. So I'm just going to delete this out. I recommend that if you've already done it or didn't do the property lines, or did the property lines like I did, that you put the correct ones in your model. So what we want to do is separate out, well, there's a couple of things. First of all, the defined area that we're going to be using for your site, your instructors told me is the center line of this, over here on this parking lot, the other side of the Holden Hall, and then they split it right here in the middle. I'm going to go ahead and pull it down all the way to include both of these buildings because I want you to mask both of those buildings. And so to define that area real quickly, what I'm going to do is go into architecture and go into model text, model line. And we're going to create a model line, and we'll just make that a hidden line out of our line types here. Okay, and I'm going to just draw a rectangle real quick and then move it into place where I want it. Oops. Let's hit the escape key and go to rectangle. And so I'm just going to pull a rectangle out here. Okay. And then adjust that to where I want it. So I want it to include, the whole engineering building right there. So I'm going to select that and then move it, and probably the easiest way is just to align this to, align. We'll just snap that to that. And then we want this to be at the center line. So we're going to pull this. Probably need to define a center line here. It's not snapping to. Okay, so I'm just going to real quickly create another model line that will snap. So there's the center. And so now let's move that so it snaps to that line. There we go. And then I'm going to delete that line I created. And then right here, that looks good. And then out to here, we'll just do that. Okay, and so that's our new site boundary. So the next thing I'm going to do is change the topography and fit it to that space. So I'm going to go in the topography surface. I'm going to edit it, and I'm going to drag it and snap it to there, snap it to there, wherever there is, and snap it to there, and snap it to there. I'm going to zoom in, make sure sometimes working from this low-res monitor, I can't tell whether I'm on there or not. So now we've just downsized the topo to this area that we're going to talk about and work from there. The next thing I want to do is create a street right here, a street surface, a street topo that I can move down lower, and then create, and then I would have the other parts are going to be both at the same elevation. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the lines that are here and select them. And so I'm going to go into and create some detail lines. Okay, I just drew some model lines. Now I'm going to go in and do some detail lines. The difference between a detail line If we go into annotate here, you'll see detail line. The difference between a detail line and a model line is a model line is a two-dimensional line, and it also is only in that view. You won't see it in another view. Okay. Whereas a model line, the lines I just drew now, if I go over here to 3D views, you'll actually see those model lines that I did. Okay. And you'll see them more here in a few minutes. But that's not what I want to do. I want to do a detail line. So I'm going to go back here to the detail line. You'll notice it wouldn't even let me draw a detail line in that 3D view because it's not a 3D line. Model lines are 3D, but detail lines are not. And so let's draw then. What we're going to do is create the two boundaries here of the street. And to do that, we're going to go in, like I said, annotate. We're going to detail line. I'm going to use the selection key, and I'm going to select that line right there. Okay. Oh, what I did is I created a red line here. Notice that red line, it won't be on your list. Let me undo that. And let's create us, if we're going to go and do that detail line. You can see a list of the different line types right here. You'll notice I have a medium red. Let's go in and I'll show you how I created that one real quick. And so we're going to go into manage. Into manage, we're going to go into additional settings, and you'll see right here line styles, line weights, line patterns. So we can, there's a lot of things, section tags, elevation tags. Those are all settings that we can change and add to. I'm going to go into line styles and click here on all the line styles, and you'll see here is medium lines and red lines. So all I did here was add a new one, a new line, and I just called it, I'll call this one medium green. And say OK. And then medium green here, I have to change the color, of course, to green. So I'll use this really bright green so it'll be visible. And then the line width, I'm just going to go ahead and make it the same medium thickness of 3 here. Okay. And so now, once I've done that, if I go back to annotate, detail lines, okay, no, detail lines, there we go. For some reason I'm having on this screen menu problems, but you can see now I have added to our lines here. So you can create any kind of line you want if you want to use it for a variety of different reasons. So I'm going to select the red one though, because I'm going to do this in red. And then I'm going to select pick, pick lines, and I'm going to pick this line right here and this arc right here to represent what I'm going to slice out of that side. And then I'm going to come down here and zoom in a little bit more because it's a little trickier now. I'm going to pick this and that little segment. See, if I'd stayed zoomed out, I might have missed that little segment, and that wouldn't have been good. And then I'm going to select this line right here, which should go all the way to the end down here. Okay. And once again, I'm going to zoom in, make sure that I'm getting the next line in the list. Next line, next line, next line, next line. And here, here, here. Now this one might present problems because there's so many segments here, but we'll see. Okay, so I should have a continuous line, and it's important to have a continuous line here. One way to check that is if you go into modify and you hover over that line and you hit the tab key. If it's a continuous line, the tab key will show you all the segments that are connected. I think I may have missed a line right there. See, I don't see a red line there. Okay. So with that done, let's try this side over here, which is going to be the hard one. Hit the tab key, and it appeared to have selected the whole, all of them all the way up. So hopefully that'll work. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is turn off or hide. Oops. I'm going to hide it first. I'm going to, that engineering key drawing, I'm going to hide it so that all we see is our model lines there, our topo, which is that surface, that's the chain of lines, the topo surface right there, and then those two lines. And so I'm going to split this now in half and make the streets, make the street plane that I'm going to lower to where it belongs. So to do that, I'm going to go into massing and split surface. And it's going to want me to pick a topography to split. And so I'm going to hit that. And then I'm going to come down here and select that and hit tab. And of course, it's not selecting it. Okay. Let's just modify. Let's select, and we'll select this one. So slightly out of, and this one, and we'll do it that way. But it may not create it, the split. Oh, it did. They're connected. I don't know why. Sometimes it does that. Okay. And so now we'll do the same thing again. Split the surface. Select now this surface that's left over. Move across it. Hit the tab key. And once again, it's not selecting. Why? I don't know. Oh, I got to pick lines first. Move over that one. Tab. No, no. No, no. Okay, so let's pick these lines and see independently and see if that's going to work. Okay, so I'm going to go here, there, 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 there. And it may be because these lines are not continuous. I mean, aren't perpendicular. I've done this on other drawings before, and it's worked fine. Okay, let's see if it does it. And it did. So they're connected. Why they're not being picked, I don't know. So now we've got this split up into two parts. If we go into a 3D view, let's go ahead and hide. We don't need that anymore. And you go in our 3D view, we can see this surface is split from that surface. Okay. We previously defined that the street surface is below. But what I want to do real quickly, I'm going to select that surface, and let's select that surface, hold the control key down and select that surface. We'll get both of those, and we'll go in here and change, okay, their material. And to do that, I'm going to type in here grass. Okay. If you don't see these libraries down here, then this is probably downsized like this. So up it, and these are the materials that are in your file, that are in your file. These are materials that are in the library sitting on your hard drive. Okay, and so I'm going to select this plant because this grass I think is too dark and I don't think it looks good. And so I'm going to load that into. Okay, you got to load it into your drawing. Now I'm going to select it and say apply that to those two topo surfaces. Of course, we can't see it because we're not in the right rendering mode. But if we go into realistic, we can see now. Now we got this topo surface there, and of course it I mean, we could leave it brown, but I'm going to go ahead and change it to. So let's tab here until we have that surface. I'm going to change this, and I'm going to type in. Let's see if we got an asphalt in here. Got asphalt shingles. Don't want asphalt shingles. We want asphalt pavement right here. We're going to, once again, we have to click on this little up button, add it to our document, okay? Add it into our project, and then apply and say okay. And now it'll render pretty dark, but that's good. Now we can go in and let's real quickly set a section through here, okay? A site section. We'll just run one right through there. So views right there, a section, and we're just going to run a site section. And then let's, of course, double click on the site section. And we're not going to be able to find that really easy there. So I'm going to go back here and into the 3D view and select. Let's tab this. There we go. And that'll make it easier to see in the section. Yep, there it is right there. And we want to lower that 6 inches, right? So what we're going to do is just move it. We're going to move that surface in this view because topos will do that, are capable of doing that. And we're going to move it from here down to 6 inches to that street level line. Okay, so now we have, if we go into our 3D view and we zoom in, we're going to see that there is, that's too dark. I'm going to change that material. But you can see it's 6 inches dropped down below that. The next video, we're going to put a curve on it.